The following has been a Motivated Medic production. For more information, look up Motivated Medic on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or go to motivatedmedic.com.
What is up, everybody? It's Daniel from the 911 Buddy Check Project. I've got the controls of the Motivated Medic podcast, while my man Tony is resting, recuperating, and rejuvenating his body, mind, and spirit. So I want to talk about some leadership stuff, because we all like leadership. So oftentimes, and I think just in general in our career field of first responders, law enforcement, and even in the veteran community, we have a huge leadership void in a lot of areas. But one specific area that we have a leadership void on is leading those who are dealing with mental health and substance abuse issues, to include post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, the loss of a loved one, divorce, just across the board. All right. It's easy to quote unquote lead those who are keeping up with the pack, who are adhering to the guidelines of the tribe. But as people often do, the ones that start falling behind, the ones that aren't keeping up, it's almost a genetic thing, that tribal mentality to cut off the weakest link, all right, to get rid of them. I'm going to treat them like a rental car, if you've ever heard me talk about rental car leadership and rental car employees. Because if you think about a rental car, we use them, we abuse them. When we don't need it anymore, or we need a new, fresh one, we trade it in, right? Well, this is how oftentimes we treat our employees, treat the weak link. We can't do that, all right? We can't be a brotherhood and a sisterhood just when everything's all hunky-dory. And oftentimes, when people start exhibiting signs and symptoms of mental health issues, or exhibiting signs and symptoms of substance abuse issues, or, just going through divorce or relationship issues, just really dealing with life, financial problems, just the life stressors that we all deal with. And as much time as we spend at work, the shift links, the career links, it's impossible not to bring this stuff to work with us. I don't care how tough you are, how stoic, how, it's going to come to work. All right. So what are some ways that we lead the unleadable, those who are struggling, the ones falling behind? Because when we cut them loose, we ride them up, we ride them like a ride at the fair. We treat them like a rental car. Get rid of them. That's where we see increased rates of not only suicide and increased rates of substance abuse, and you literally see people's lives fall apart because of bad leadership. It also affects these people's families, their kids, their spouses. And I can't remember who said it, so I don't want to quote his name, but I read a few years ago one of the most profound quotes. I think it's a fire chief, but he said, one of the last cowardly acts of a leader is to fire somebody. And I'll even expand on that. One of the last cowardly acts of a leader is to write someone up or fire them when they're dealing with a mental health issue, whether it be depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, financial problems, relationship problems, whatever. It literally makes you a coward to do what we normally do to people. I've done it to people when I was in management, and I've had it done to me. So some of the ways that we lead those that are hurting, I like to use the CAF acronym: compassion, acceptance, love, forgiveness, and empathy. We always need to have compassion because everybody is walking a path, a journey we know nothing about. Everyone has come from a background that we know nothing about with different life experiences. And we need to have compassion for people, not judging off our expectations. That leads us to acceptance. We need to have acceptance. Yes, and that's a double-edged sword because we can't just let people run amok. And you have to hold people accountable, but we have to have acceptance and accept people where they're at. Meet them where they are. Don't kick the legs out from under someone and ask them why they're laying on the floor. Accept them where they're at. Meet them at their level and pick them up. Love. Have love. Unconditional love for your employees. I'm not saying you got to like them, but we have to have unconditional love. And when we meet our people with compassion and acceptance where they're at, with unconditional love, devoid of expectations, because a lot of times, and this even a little relationship nugget for all of you listeners, we can't have love with expectation. And just because, like I can't love my wife when, I don't know, she like does the dishes. And I only love her if she does the dishes. Well, there are going to be times in our relationship and our marriage where she's just not going to feel like doing the dishes or has other stuff going on. And, I can't set conditions and expectations on that. And you can, that aligns to our employees. There are going to be times where our employees don't meet our expectations. All right. But when we accept them, meet them where they're at, have that unconditional love and acceptance, unconditional, free of conditions and expectations. Not only does it help ease the leader, manager, officer relationship to the employee, it gives you some grace. Forgiveness. Having forgiveness. All right. People are going to we can't remove the human from the human being. And forgiveness is not only just an overall barometer of who you are as a person and a leader, but we have to have the ability to forgive and forget, because a lot of times our ego doesn't want to forgive how we identify with our position or our job. We have to forgive. All right. And we have to have almost like a clean slate with those who are dealing, because people that are dealing with mental health issues or substance abuse or, relationship problems, whatever, who they are tomorrow is not who they are today. Who they are today is not who they were yesterday. Who they're going to be in a week is not who they are right now. And you have, as a leader, and I preface that with saying everybody is a leader. But specifically, if you're in a management or a chiefs and officers type position, you have to have forgiveness. You can't carry grudges, and that's not leadership. You have to have empathy. Because like I said, compassion and empathy are two of the most powerful tools next to love that we have. And just meeting people where they are, because everybody is fighting a battle we know nothing about. Everyone has been through a journey we know nothing about. And if you meet your employees with compassion, acceptance, love, and forgiveness and empathy, and actually help people and truly lead, because leadership is influence. It's not a position. It's not a title. It's influence, plain and simple. But use the CAF acronym. Meet them where they're at. I had a first sergeant when I was stationed with the Marines. First Sergeant Wade, deployed to Iraq a few times. He was a Haditha Dam Marine. If you don't know who they are, just Google it, 325 Marines. But we were doing some training at Camp Shelby in the armpit of Mississippi in the middle of the summer, and had some staff NCO development time with First Sergeant Wade. And First Sergeant Wade was one, if he talked, you listened. And he wanted to do some leadership development. And he told us to be fair. All right. Be fair, be firm, be flexible, have empathy and compassion for your Marines and sailors. Because if you don't know, all Marine corpsmen are Navy sailors, just stationed with the Marines. Fair, firm, be flexible. All right. And I've talked about this a lot on the buddy check in my talks, but oftentimes in leadership, we take this firm, rigid, it's my way or the highway approach, and that just doesn't work. Specifically with this newer generation coming up, we have to learn to be flexible. Now, I know firm and flexible seem kind of counterintuitive or almost contradictory, but you do have to be firm. And, not only, that's why I teach the self-aid, buddy aid portion of mental health, because if you're not okay, you have to get help. You have to reach out. You have to tell them, that whole thing. Like, you can't suffer in silence and expect everybody to know what is going on. Almost like your spouse being mad at you, but they won't tell you why. We know, we feel it, but we just don't know why. You have to have a conversation. But from a leadership standpoint, you also have to be open to that conversation and provide, safe, environments and safe conversations and help these people out, because we have more bad leadership and bad management than we have good. But being fair, like, you have to have that almost kind of like justice, just equal fairness for all. And a lot of times, one of my last managers, had favorites, so to speak. We like to call them favorites. And it directly influenced how this person led and managed. And you can't do that. Like, you have to be fair across the board. You can't pick and choose how you treat one person, how you pick and choose how you treat another. And more specifically, I see a lot of leaders, and I've dealt with a lot of fire chiefs and police chiefs that will tell you, I've never dealt with post-traumatic stress. I've never dealt with depression or anxiety. I don't believe it's real. Brr, 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 brr. Well, okay, that's not you. All right, just because you're one myopic little bitty experience doesn't account for the whole, right? So, as First Sergeant Wade said, be fair, be firm, be flexible. Use the CAF acronym: compassion, acceptance, love, forgiveness, empathy. It's that simple. Everybody is fighting a battle we know nothing about. It is not for you to judge and talk about, demean, pick on, bully, whatever you want to call it. That's not your position. You're supposed to be a leader. And I liken leadership to a sailboat. A leader is the wind in the sails. The employees are the ones doing the work on the ship, keeping the ship upright. The leader is the wind in the sails. Boom. I appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate Tony letting me drop in and take over the helm of the Motivated Medic podcast. It's time to get motivated, y'all. Hope y'all have a great week. Make sure to leave the Motivated Medic a 5-star review. It helps it get published, and you may see a couple more of these from me. If you have anything to add, drop them in the notes or drop a comment. Let them know what you think. Hope y'all have a fantastic week. It's time to wage war. See y'all.